This is Visa Grand Duchess Rasmus Good in part 3. So, when I said about responsibility, they had the authority not to shoot. Whether or not they want to reserve, want to take the reserve of their authority and be human and express their humanity, their conscientiousness, their will to try to do the basic thing, innocent until proven guilty. We will never know why such disaster happens. But one can only feel that wherever there is shame, guilt, and disrespect, the value of human life does not count. As I said in my experience with Korea, my first instinct was to go away from the place, never to come back to the country, never to engage anyone, to build a whole new life. I said to myself, I would never fight an institution for coming here as an immigrant and paying out of pocket $80,000 or $100,000 to go to school and earn degrees. I would never fight them because I knew I wouldn't find the justice. I wouldn't find a lawyer to represent me, which I never have and still have not. My first instincts were to go away and do what people who fear or people who have want to live a life in silence, in a good life in silence and hard work, integrity and justice. First thing I wanted to do was to find somewhere safe. But you know what? Whatever the things are, the gifts of the Holy Spirit or whatever they are, as I said, I was witness unto a supernatural thing that told me this is what you should do. This is what I want. This is your help. It didn't tell me what to do. This is your help. This is what I foresee, and this is how I'm going to help you. It didn't say if you stay, we are going to help. Then I stood and said, well, I am loved above all things. And then I came to stand and say the things that I have to say. And let's say people of America or whatever you want to believe it or not, you watch these shows all the time. I am not the only one. Status quo, those African Americans who were injected with syphilis and whatever. There were other people that died. There were other spirits that gave a witness, lied to me. Thank you for doing what you are doing. And then I know the guilt, the shame of the masonry, of the murderers. And this is the hate on hate crime. This is not me against the Iraqis or the Koreans. This is me in my own time, fratricide. I understand them and understand the efficacy of them using black people as experiment. They had a very common joke among a certain class of people in Korea. All black men are impotent after whatever. Don't ask me what that means. But I wasn't thinking of sexual impotence. I thought of another impotence. And there, when I saw Diane Deal, how she harassed and aggravated me, Choi, the sergeant who put the poison, I saw him putting something in my water. Major Gabrielle from Brony, I saw her also throwing something in my water. And therefore, I would know that I had to stop eating around them. And Dana Bryant and so forth and so forth. So I have no respect for them, no respect for the integrity of them because they have none. And I cannot advocate for it. I advocate for all black people to stand up and run the army out of town, stone the military until they have come to a point of justice. You deserve to have people that have the heart of your children, the safety of your children. No one suffer a heart attack and is placed back to work 2 days after. And if that is not a disgrace on that core, that's the simplest disgrace they have. There is nothing else you can stand for. As a nurse, I do not stand with them in nursing, and I cannot stand with a nurse at Walter who says, I cannot help or I cannot do because of fear. I have to say what they say to keep my job. I will never do that and I will never appreciate it because it says slavery, it says oppression, and it says a lack of everything. And therefore, for who I am and my capabilities, I have said it. And I have said it. And I will say it for all the souls who couldn't say it. I will say it for all the people who had to take some stinking veteran benefits and so forth, just for stinking serving whatever, and they suffered by the hands of their own people. Tillman probably never had a chance to say it. They probably erased that man's memory and he's probably sitting down somewhere dead, you think. But darling, such is life. Whether or not you want to believe it. As the angel told me, you make a claim. On that very day after New Year's morning, I saw a couple people enjoying themselves wonderfully in Jamaica like I did in the past. And the angel said, what are you doing here? Poor my dear, there is nowhere to go and no one to love. But watch what I will do to them. And so therefore, I would love for it to be a magical fantasy, but it's not. Because then, darling, I don't understand why the reality came to me before I lived it. I don't understand why I would see something, and if it was my imagination when I arrived at the place, the scene and the people are exactly what it is, and their action. So therefore, there is some justification to who I am, what I've been through, and what I know. And whether or not they want to pay those claims, or whether or not anyone wants to believe it, that's beside the point. I have said it for all the lost souls who couldn't say it. And I said the truth. This is me, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Conan. Take it any way you want to take it. But if you're guilty, you have a choice. No one says you have to do this, but your best choice. Make the best human action that you can do for the action that you committed. Start early and don't dig yourself into the moronism of simplicity, into the moronism of covering up. The morons at Walter Reed, the morons, the doctors and the nurses, I call them morons, but they could never outclass me. I remember Mr. Obama advocated for brain mapping. This is how they do the little thing, and they can inject memories and inject things and direct behaviors. They can do this to animals. They did this to a little boy named Rico Holmes. He's in jail now. What racism is that? And there were other people worse than him. But I never told Rico Holmes what I saw for him, how I saw a vision of it, where he was right now. I wanted him to come and talk to me, to be honest and truthful. And this is where another young African American black person in jail, mapping, Mr. Obama advocates for that. And that's where the meritorious set is in jail because of these little people brain mapping. And so therefore, isn't that injustice? Isn't that racism? And who is the president? Well, Rico, my heart goes out to you, but I knew the deed before it was done. And therefore, where is our help? Who is our just keepers? And where will we find justice in America? Have a good day.